Hey guys. You should get the cloud glasses that have little raindrop jewels coming off of them for the season. You know, I think I do need Thanks for hosting our chat. You're welcome. I think I do need some. I need to commit to glasses this year. I'm not sure which ones yet. I don't think I want the heart ones. I want something that's a little bit more expensive. I'm thinking my price range is $2,000, $2 to $3,000, something in that price range. Cloud glasses, huh? What's that like? Oh shit. Okay. Oh ho ho ho. Wait. Walmart? No. Cloud glasses. Gucci. Prada. I have a funny this is gonna be an insane sentence just to say. But I do have a funny Prada story. I was in at a Prada store. Not really a Prada store. I was in London at a fuck. What's the name of the big designers? The big like department store basically. Harold's maybe. Is that what it is? And there was a Prada section, and I was fucking around with my friend. I was like, "Yo, if these Prada glasses are under $400, I'll buy them right now." And the lady came up. She goes, "Those are $399, sir." And I said, "Oh, $399, huh?" I could see us in these. Now, these feel a little bit more these feel a little bit more special occasion rather than we're committing to these. But, you know, all right. Hey, kind of like them. You can add raindrops for every loss. The over the head, over the head Oakleys. I'm not gonna lie, man. I feel like my head's too big. You know, and this is such an iconic photo right here. This is such an iconic photo, and I would just be doing a disservice. I would. Jax, $4.99. Is it time to get delusional, Mr. Bias? Oh, it's been way past that. Aaron with a $4.99. There's a 7'9" freshman center at my uni, and I ran into him today. Go Gators. Really? "7'9" freshman center. Oh my God. Oliver Rioux? Bro, that's ridiculous. I've seen videos of this guy. Oakleys are in play. There are some nice little Oakley Y2K glasses that I'm keeping an eye on. The over the head ones might be a little extreme. How much do those even run for, huh? Oh, only 1,800 I see here on eBay. Okay, we could do that. Yeah, we could do 1,800. What's this one looking like on eBay? 1,800. Okay, all right. Write it off. I mean, they are cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. They're fucking sick. Oh, this one's only $7,000. The thing about these is, like, if you buy like a cheap rip off of them, I feel like they would look so bad. Like, you're already pushing it. Oh man, what the hell are we even going to talk about today, huh? We're already off to a hot start. I got damn near next to nothing on the docket. Next week is when we get to the scheduled streams. So let's just look at my calendar here. Very busy guy. Let's look at our calendar, what we have planned next week. We're immediately starting on Monday. Stream. One player to watch for each team is what I have listed. I'm not super committed to that. Not super committed to that. The foot's feeling fine. We're good. The foot is fine. So those of you who might have missed my tweet or missed me on Locked On, yesterday doing a workout. Usually I don't do heavyweights just because I don't. It's not good for you. But this time I did, doing fucking calf raises of all things. Like, what a stupid ass thing to do, man. Like, what a dumbass thing to do. Now, if you've seen my calves, you'd think, why do you even need to work them out? I know, but that's how they get to how they get to, right? That's how you know. You get this definition right here is by working them out. But was doing heavy weights on fucking calf raises. I mean, what a dumbass. And whenever I was doing it, felt a little pinch in the back. It's why I don't like to do heavy weights on squats either. It fucks the back up. So I was like, all right, my workout's almost over anyways. Let me just, front squats, you put the bar right here? Yeah, I've done those. I honestly usually, right now, my workout regimen, I do have squats, you know, sort of heavyweight squats. But usually it's just lightweight, goblet squats with a dumbbell, like something like that. I'm not always injured. Honestly, I feel like I'm in pretty great shape for where I'm at. But this was just a freak injury. Felt a light pinch. Back's a little stiff, but completely fine. Just decided, you know, don't want to risk it. As I was taking the weights off, fucking dropped the 45-pound plate directly on my foot. From pretty high up. From pretty high up. And I was very worried that I broke my foot, or at least fractured it or something originally. A small fracture. Luka injured? Oh my god, you're fucking kidding. Well, what are the odds of this? I'm literally talking about how I injured myself at a workout. And then we get this. Mavericks say Luka Dončić suffered a left calf contusion and will be reevaluated in 1 week. Oh, well, that's actually a really big bummer because Fan Jam is this Sunday for the Mavericks. And that means that Luka will not be participating in it. Left calf contusion. Huh? Well, hopefully this is just like a super precautionary thing. I'd have to imagine it is. Evaluated in 1 week next Wednesday. The Mavs have a preseason game on Monday. Moderate to severe muscle contusions may take 4 to 6 weeks to heal. Mild muscle contusions take much less time, usually 5 to 7 days. Reevaluated in a week right now, though, could easily just mean, hey, just it's preseason, bro. Like we're not risking anything with you. Sustained a hit during workouts this week, resulting in a left calf contusion. All right, that you know, it being a contact related thing, I just have to imagine this means they're being super cautious. We got 3 weeks. This is the very beginning of the off season. The Mavs season kicks off officially in 22 days. Will be reevaluated as necessary in 1 week. What does as necessary mean there, you think? Yeah, probably got knee driving to the rim or something like that. Not overly too concerned about this. It does suck for fans because Fan Jam is on Sunday, as I mentioned earlier. I was going to talk about, I can see how you can get hit in the calf if you're like jumping or if a guy's sort of like bent down in a weird way. Now, it does suck because the Mavs are, you know, they got a pretty new team. They got a new starting five, a new addition to the starting five. So the more time together, the better for those two. But I doubt he's even sitting out practice. I mean, he's probably resting a little bit. I've got knee to my calf playing soccer. I wasn't able to walk for a month. The good news is these are professional athletes who have access to the best healthcare in the world. So I'm assuming that they're I'm assuming that he's gonna be okay, honestly. Swipe a cam, sit to sniper to Mavs practice. Oh man. Not fun though to see this. It's the last thing you want to see is injuries during preseason. To be honest, we got good guard depth with Exum, Kyrie, Clay, Hardy, and Din Shitty. If it's not a knee, I'm feeling all right. I mean, calf can be a little bit concerning too, but the fact that this was a contact injury, contusion, they're saying reevaluate in a week as necessary. To me, feels like a week from now, if they need to reevaluate, they will. Otherwise, his ass will be back. And I'm not overly concerned this early in the offseason. Or this early in the preseason with an injury like this. They're going to be as cautious as possible with anything like this. Just keep that in mind. I wouldn't bank on this being something that leads to missed time. Better than Jaren Jackson Jr.'s injury news. Yeah, the Jaren Jackson Jr. injury news is actually not good. A hamstring injury for him. And from what I was reading yesterday, it almost kind of sounded like his start to the season was legitimately up in the air. Feared to have suffered a strained hamstring. Tuesday will undergo imaging. I don't know if we've seen... Have we seen any updates to this? We've yet to get an update for this, but it sounds like Jaren Jackson Jr. might have a hamstring strain, which would probably lead to missing some time, maybe like a couple games to start the season, which is bad news for the Grizzlies, who obviously were just decimated with injuries a season ago. And then Vince Williams Jr. is already going to miss the start of the season for them, and he sort of blossomed into an interesting player for them last season. So they really need to get healthy, man. They really need to get healthy. Yeah, the hammy is a tough one. Gigi Jackson's out for a couple of months as well. Desmond Bane's been a full participant, so he's fine. Is Memphis heavily relying on Edey in the first 2 to 4 weeks to hold down the paint? I mean, I'm assuming they'll be relying on him pretty heavily all season long. Is a contusion just a bruise? It's like a tissue bruise, right? And they could be really painful. I mean, they could be lingering injuries that can keep you out. I mean, if you get a thigh contusion, if you've ever played basketball, you've been kneed in the thigh. You've been kneed in the knee, but kneed in the thigh or the hip or something. If that like bruises up, it could be like genuinely next to impossible to move. So let's see. Stein tweeted that it happened before Vegas. Huh? The Luka injury happened before Vegas? Well, that makes me feel a million times better about this. Here we go. The hit that caused the calf injury, league sources tell the Stein line, occurred in a weekend workout in Dallas before the Mavericks arrived in Las Vegas for training camp. The Mavericks say Dončić will miss at least 1 week. Okay. I mean, we got these pictures literally yesterday from Vegas. So I'm sure they practiced yesterday. Luka was probably like, hey, I got a bit of a calf thing. They probably looked at it and were like, let's not even risk it. So this is basically a nothing burger, yeah. This is a hilarious photo. No, we don't know if Luka's injury was caused by Dwight Powell. That's just baseless speculation. Leave my man Dwight Powell out of this. All right, the fact that this happened before the workouts is a good thing. Okay. I hear he tore his Achilles. We're not joking around like that. You're fucking out of here. We're not joking around like that. They were giggling the whole time, yeah. Shams is grifting with Luka injury news. His political season, he stepped his game up. Yeah, I mean, grifting a little bit. I think that Tim McMahon's tweet is a little grifting as well. You gotta fearmonger. I saw this tweet getting quote tweeted yesterday, but people were like, oh shit, the Grizzlies mean business. John Moran speaking for the Grizzlies as a whole, we all feel like we ain't done shit yet. Yeah, you haven't. People are like, oh my God, like they're locked in. Well, no, they haven't done anything. Like they're actually right. That's just being truthful. Luka Dončić will miss at least a week due to left calf contusion. Last time Stein tried to mitigate bad news online, Brunson left. Well, look, I'd be concerned if it were not for this picture. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, in Vegas. Stein said it happened before Vegas. So do the math. Did you watch Arsenal smash Paris yesterday? I saw some. It's AI. I was watching playoff baseball, which is about to start again soon. Can I talk real quickly about this? Again, we don't really have much to go over today. We'll learn more about this Luka stuff as the day goes on. As it stands right now, I'm not worried about it at all. Go Tigers, yeah. Tigers in 2. Scooble's a fucking dog. I honestly didn't know Scooble was nasty like that. Okay. I mean, I knew he was nasty. He's going to win the Cy Young, but honestly, I have to admit, I haven't really watched much of him. Woo! I didn't know he pumped 100. How do you pronounce his first name? Is it not Tariq? Is that not his name? Tariq Scooble? Tarek? Okay. Tarek Scooble. Did you hear that Frank Vogel was at practices yesterday? I did not. That's interesting. I have been watching the WNBA playoffs. Yes. All right. So a couple things. Let's start because the WNBA. You asked about it. We'll start here. I'm rooting for the Liberty. That's my team. You know, for the simple reason being, I love Sabrina, man. She's probably my favorite WNBA player. Now, if you're asking why, Sabrina's my favorite WNBA player, I love her shoes. I mean, sometimes it's really that simple, man. Sometimes she's incredible. She's a dog. But I love her shoes. It's a good. I followed the WNBA this year. I try not to speak on it. I try not to talk about it. The WNBA is in such a strange spot where it has just been thrusted into sort of just become the center of attention for a while. Going from not being small, but, you know, not being like hugely discussed to now it's like the center of attention and people are paying attention. People are watching. And I'll just be honest. Like, yes, it's good. It's getting more eyeballs, obviously. This young crop of players they have, mainly Caitlin Clark. Let's just be real. It's mainly Caitlin Clark has, you know, brought so much new attention to the league. And a lot of that attention is bad. And you could say there's no such thing as bad press, especially when you're trying to grow a league. Getting more eyes is good. It's been so toxic that I've just avoided it entirely. I haven't wanted to talk about it. I haven't wanted to share anything. It's just what the WNBA space needs currently is people who really know what they're talking about. You know? That's it. The WNBA, the WNBA space desperately needs. I just talked about the Luka injury. What am I supposed to say? It sounds like it's a minor calf injury. I'm not going to spend 3 hours talking about it. Okay? I'm doing a lockdown podcast later. I'm sure we'll talk about it for 30 minutes. Like, what do you... Like, I'm not about to sit here and talk about it for 30 minutes. Yes, Nikias Duncan. Got good stuff. The Dunked On podcast. The Dunker Spot. With him and Steve Jones. Good stuff for the WNBA just desperately needs serious voices right now that can sort of ride this shit out. Who know about the league, who follow the league, who focus on the league, how good the basketball is, how good some of these fucking players are. Because some of these, I mean, it's just kind of an incredible boom in talent in the WNBA. Like, there's so many good players that the focus and attention should be on that. And that's just not where the focus and attention has been. It's been on Caitlin Clark. And yeah, the race war that has seemingly broken out. I actually, funnily enough, thought Nick Wright had the best take here on the whole matter when he basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, it feels like there are a lot of racist people who don't really give a shit about the WNBA who have used Caitlin Clark as sort of a vehicle to get their shit off. And I think that that's 100% correct. I think that is absolutely 100% correct, the right reading of this whole situation. Like, I don't think Caitlin Clark fans are inherently racist at all. I think it's completely and totally fine to root for and support Caitlin Clark. I think it's completely and totally fine to state the truth, which is the boom in popularity in the WNBA is because of Caitlin Clark. Like, you're lying to yourself if you try to say otherwise, right? You're absolutely lying to yourself if you think that there's another answer. It sounds unfair to some of the other women in the league, but it's just the truth. It's the same way we could say, hey, look, the NBA, like, you look at the ratings, LeBron is, when LeBron's on TV, it's more popular. More people care. When Steph's on TV, more people care. No, Caitlin Clark did nothing wrong. Absolutely not. And her being like at the center point of this is really sad for her. Like, it is. I have to imagine maybe she's just not online at all, but you know, she has to hear some of this shit. I'm sure it fucks up her psyche a little bit. You know? And look, Angel Reese saying, look, the Angel Reese stuff, okay? Angel Reese is a good basketball player. Obviously, anyone trying to suggest that she was in the Rookie of the Year conversations with Caitlin Clark, like, come on. Come on. Get serious, okay? Like, get serious, right? Angel Reese talking shit on the basketball court. Angel Reese off the court saying, hey, I think I'm a big reason why people are watching as well. Who gives a fuck? Like, what do you want her to say? Of course he's going to say that shit. Like, of course. She's a professional athlete. Professional athletes are incredibly competitive. Professional athletes, you have to have a level of delusion. So what? You have to be delusional to be a professional athlete, especially at the highest level. You have to be insanely competitive. You know, there's good money in race hustling. There is, like, I hate doing the both sides stuff because I hate that. But there is some both sides there. Like, I can't for the life of me put myself in a good place on WNBA Twitter on my For You page where I'm just, like, seeing highlights and I'm seeing, like, people discuss the fucking games being played. Because it's all just nonsensical bullshit all the way, like, from both sides. It's just fucking nonsense, man. It's just insane. I have no problem with Reese and what she said, to be honest. It's the same thing with Jason Tatum saying that he thinks the best player in the NBA. Yeah, there's literally nothing wrong with Angel Reese saying that she thinks she's as good as Caitlin Clark. I don't even know if she said that. Right, but her thinking that, like, of course, man, of course, people are going to, like, of course they're going to think this. I feel like the craziest part is how unaccepting the NBA players are of Caitlin. They hate that she's getting all the attention. This is not new to the WNBA, by the way. This is not new to sports. This is how super high level, high prospects who enter the league with such a spotlight shine on them. This is how they are treated. This is how LeBron James was treated when he came into the league. Maybe not to this level, right? It was obviously a different time. It was pre-social media and all that. But, like, go back and look at some of the quotes from players who are on the Cleveland Cavaliers when they won the lottery. And they're basically just like, yeah, LeBron, like, whatever. Like, what the fuck's he going to do for our team? Carlos Boozer, Darius Miles, like, yeah. People hated LeBron before he was drafted. Absolutely. So it's not a new thing. It's just so many new eyeballs are now glued onto the WNBA. I mean, there's a monumental spike. The WNBA has been growing over time. It's been growing in popularity over time, which has been great to see. But you're lying to yourself if you think Caitlin Clark hasn't been directly responsible for this huge uptick in viewership. Like, you're lying to yourself if you're trying to say otherwise. Some of the players seem mad and insecure. I remember when Andre Iguodala tried to pay one of them a compliment by calling them their jersey number, and they had a problem with it. I mean, again, I think that that's just professional athletes being professional athletes. I do remember the jersey number thing, but I mean, that was just a one tweet thing. Does the NBA salary cap go up if the WNBA can start supporting their own league? The NBA salary cap will just continue to go up anyways. Larry Bird was treated the same or even worse as Caitlin Clark. And racial tensions were much stronger then. The reason people think it's crazy is because of social media. Yeah, and I mean, look, I said it, like I said, I agree with what Nick Wright was basically saying. Was that there's definitely a contingent of people, of racist people, who have used this as sort of a vehicle to be racist and just tie their name to Caitlin Clark. Like, it's 100% a thing that's happening. Right? The 100% a thing that's happening. Cameron Brink got engaged, now my month is ruined. And Caitlin Clark is fucking awesome, and she's great for the WNBA. She's great for basketball in general. Right? Why isn't Caitlin getting a shoe? She'll get a shoe. She'll for sure get a shoe. It's their source of legitimacy so they can be racist. Yeah, and it's not fair to Caitlin Clark at all. It's not fair to her teammates. It's not fair to any like actual Indiana Fever supporters or Caitlin Clark supporters. And I have a working theory, because I've honestly always thought this. Racist people who support or who watch basketball, it always blows my mind. Like, it never makes sense to me. You're talking about a league that is predominantly black. How can you, like, I never really understood it. Hate watching, but there's people who really follow it. And I've realized why there's like this weird, I only like college basketball. I don't like the NBA. I only like college basketball. How that's always a little bit of a whistle. I don't want to say everyone like that is bad, but that's always a bit of a dog whistle where you perk up a little bit. You're like, huh, okay, all right, that's interesting. And now I feel like it's rubbed off a little bit on the WNBA. My working theory on why that is NBA players make so much money, right, that you can't watch them and be racist. Like, you can't support them and be racist. Whereas in college, it's like there's almost this ownership feeling. And I feel like there's why so many people are mad about the NIL is usually we know athletes are getting paid under the table, but they weren't making any money. So it felt like there was almost this ownership level to the athletes in college where it's like, you're not making any money. You're no better than me. Go out and fucking play the sport. And the WNBA can be similar because their salaries aren't anywhere near as high as professional athletes, as other like men professional athletes. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Where I'm getting at? I regularly watch college sports. And by the way, I'm not trying to make it sound like anybody watching college sports. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the small portion of people who are like, I fucking hate the NBA, but I love college basketball. I'm always like, huh, that's interesting. And none of those people would be in here, by the way. None of those people would be in here on an NBA-centric channel in the middle of the offseason. Yes. So those are real people. It's not a good amount of like college basketball fans. I think most college basketball fans are basketball fans. People also dislike the politics in the NBA. A lot of older people feel that way. And I'm telling you why I think they feel that way. I'm just being honest. I agree. College basketball kind of sucks ass. I'm not. I love March Madness. It is the best sporting event. But college basketball can be a difficult watch. Same way college football can be difficult. I cannot get into college sports to save my life. I try. Ever since I graduated college, it's been done. I just cannot, for the life of me, care. So, do you know people like this in real life? I can't say I do. I'm trying to think. I can't say I know people who are like, I love college basketball. Granted, how many diehard college basketball fans are there? To be fair, politics and sports is annoying with how tense the United States is about politics. I just want to escape and have a good time with everyone enjoying sports. But they do interject politics into the sports already. Like, it's already inherently baked into everything. I mean, ask any European person in here. Like, just doing the national anthem before games, doing a fucking stealth bomber flyover before games, having a ginormous 70-yard flag in the middle of the field before games is weird. That's a strange thing. That's a strange thing that doesn't happen anywhere else. It's a bizarre thing. What do you think? What do you really think about it? It's strange. National anthem is now considered racist. It's not considered racist. It's just weird. It's a weird thing to do before when you really think about it. I think, the national anthem for the game, whatever. I don't give a fuck. That's fine. Cool. I don't care. I really hate the flyovers before a big football game. I hate them. I genuinely dislike them. Sure, they look cool and shit. It's cool when a fucking B-52 bomber flies over your head. It's like, whoa, my God, look at that thing. It's an incredible feat of engineering. But then it's like, huh. What, is that going to some Lebanon village right now? Where all my tax dollars are going? I ran over like 7 potholes on my way here. Can those get fixed? The Texas Pledge, yeah, the Texas Pledge of Allegiance. Not in Texas schools, I think pretty much every single American school has to do the Pledge of Allegiance. The national anthem, I don't think so. I want to say we had like on Fridays we sang the national anthem or something, but I don't think the national anthem was something we sang in school. You do the Pledge of Allegiance every day. But in Texas, you also do the Texas Pledge of Allegiance. Which I have to be honest with you, I don't remember. I do not remember the Texas Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, nah, all I needed to see was the first line. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God and indivisible. That's it. It's just that. Once I saw honor the Texas flag, boom, it clicked. They did change didn't they change the under God part at one point? I think in my school maybe they changed that. I could be misremembering though. We're going far back in time. No, I'm just kidding. No, we kind of are. One nation under gosh. I don't even remember the Texas Pledge anymore. We only did it in elementary. After that, my schools didn't give a fuck about it. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if we did it after elementary school. It's not really clicking. Now, granted, I don't remember shit from high school. And I actually think part of it was, since I played sports in high school, like your sports was always your first period, so you weren't actually there when they did it. Dončić is injured. We've already talked about it, guys. If you're just coming in and you're thinking that you're surprising me with the Luka Dončić news, you're not. So what position did you play in baseball? Take a look at my build and guess. Yeah, definitely a catcher. A lot of time catching. Like 12 years. That was pretty good. I got to be real with you guys. I was pretty good at baseball. I don't like to toot my own horn, but I was good. All right, what were we talking about? We've been alive for an hour. What in the motherfuck have we been discussing? Oh, I did want to shit on baseball a tiny bit. What's going on? How are my Tigers doing? Into the first. All right. So I was watching baseball yesterday. I mean, at your height, you could have pitched too. I did not grow until senior year. I was like normal size, not tall, not short. Until like summer before my senior year, I grew like 5 inches. Have you ever buzz cut your hair? No. I did get a haircut today. Huh? Lucas struck kid in the face for not playing Omax, and kid roundhouse Lucas calf. Long hair in Texas is brutal. Dude, it's hot today. This is where it gets like depressing this time of the year. What does it say it is outside? 87? Yeah, it's fucking hot. I'm gonna pop off. I gotta watch my team play Aston Villa. Peace out, Lucas. Not talking about the NFL. I mean, I don't have much to talk about the NFL right now. I talked about it a couple days ago. And I've been watching the NFL. I'm off of my I hate the NFL shtick, but man, it's been bad. Like I'm not saying this from a place of hate. It's been bad this year. Like it's been bad. But it being October 2nd and hot outside, it just feels gross, man. You're just so fucking ready. I went to HEB. There's pumpkins everywhere. Like, they got skeletons. You don't feel it. You don't feel shit. Does current NFL quarterback play better than the 2010 era NBA centers? All right, let's think about it. So you do have currently playing the quarterback position somebody who might be the greatest to ever do it in Patrick Mahomes. Like, there's definitely an argument that he's on pace to become the greatest quarterback of all time. So you do have that. It sort of drops off after there, right? It's Josh Allen number 2, and then there's like a Lamar Jackson's really great. Joe Burrow's had a good season so far. But then there's like a pretty substantial drop off. And yeah, Mahomes hasn't even been great this year. CJ Stroud's good, yeah, but that 2010 era sitters, let's think. Who was balling out? I mean, Chris Kaman made an all-star game. Like, that's what you have to remember. DeAndre Jordan was a first-team All-NBA player. Like, that era from the center position was fucking brutal. Roy Hibbert. Well, Dwight Howard was great. Dwight Howard was great, though. But yes, not only did Joakim Noah get first team All NBA, and I will throw. I know that we're kind of shitting on the center position a little bit. I will throw Joakim Noah some props here. He was a defensive player of the year, and he did finish 4th in MVP voting. He did finish 4th in MVP voting one year. That'll be a fun trivia question. Like 10 years from now, when we're like even further removed from his career. I'm not gonna lie, we're saying all these names. I actually think the center position was better. Like Gasol, both the Gasols were great, like really good players, Hall of Fame players. Right? Marc Gasol's making the Hall of Fame. Hibbert was like very much a product of his time, and once that time ended, he was done. That's how bad the quarterback position is. All right, my little baseball rant here. My little baseball rant. I was watching the games yesterday. Good games. I mean, there was a lot of good games. It was fun to watch. But I'm watching. I can't help but notice, right? I can't help but notice during the Astros and Tigers game, which started at 1:30 p.m. on a fucking Tuesday, that the stadium was maybe 80% full. Which, baseball stadiums are big, so that's 40,000 people. But for a playoff game, you would think 100% full. Everyone's there. Everyone's loud and rowdy. About 80% full. Games at 1:30 p.m. on a fucking Tuesday. Let me tell you, baseball, the MLB is far and away the stupidest professional sports league in America and quite potentially possibly the world. And I don't know. I can't really speak to much international sports leagues outside of the United States. But among the big four sports leagues in the United States, MLB is far and away the fucking dumbest. Like, it's not even remotely close. They're so stupid that it almost feels at times like they're self-sabotaging. Like, they are purposefully sabotaging their game, and I don't know what the reasoning would be, but that there's some sabotage effort afoot. It doesn't make sense how stupid they are. It makes no sense at all. So you got yesterday, Tuesday, October 1st, this game right here, Royals-Orioles. That's a fun matchup, right? That's a fun, I haven't really followed baseball much this year, but that's a fun playoff matchup right here. Now, the game wasn't very good, 1-0. But the Royals are a fun young team. Bobby Witt Jr., this guy right here, I'm just trying to paint the picture for those of you who don't follow baseball at all. This guy is incredible and is going to be an incredibly fun player for the next 10 years. Going to be one of the faces of the league for a very long time. Over on the other side, Gunnar Henderson, same thing. Young player, going to be one of the faces of the league for a very long time. Adley Rutschman, young player, going to be one of the faces of the league for a very long time. This is a young and fun Baltimore Orioles team. They put this game on at 3 o'clock on a weekday. Not only is it 3 o'clock on a weekday, folks, the game, go ahead and take a look right here. It's on fucking ESPN2. They couldn't even put it on ESPN. It's on ESPN2. A playoff game. A playoff game. If I'm MLB, I'm going to ESPN immediately and I'm saying, we're pulling your rights. You're done. You are done. No more baseball for you. We're pulling your rights. We're going elsewhere. Don't ever disrespect us by putting us on ESPN2 ever again. Ever again. Embarrassing. The playoffs are so stupid now. I can't get the logic. You have a 162 game season. 162 games. Right? 162 games. So long. So long. And they have a playoff round, best of 3. How does that make any sense, man? You win 91 of your 162 baseball games. You then have to survive a best of 3 series. How does that make any sense at all? A season that long, and you can have an incredible regular season. All you need is 2 bad luck games and you're done. 162 games down the fucking drain. So stupid. I don't understand the logic at all. $162 games is the best part of baseball, in my opinion. They should treat it like the Premier League. What should happen in the postseason should only be 2 teams in each league. Well, that's how it was for the longest time. But yes, now it's so stupid. Now they let half the league in the playoffs, and now you have to fight. You can win 90. Rays last year when the Rangers beat them won 99 games or some shit like that, right? They had to play in a best of 3 series. Just absolutely nuts. It makes no sense if your season's that fucking long. Makes my head hurt. And my heart. And the wild card used to be a 1-game elimination game after all those games. I'll give the wild card game, when they first did it, the 1-game wild card elimination game, I'll give it some bail, because it used to just be there's 2 wild card teams, right? And those teams play a 1-game winner go home game to have the wild card spot. There used to be only 1 wild card team in baseball. And up until like 2010, I think it was 2011 maybe was the first year. Or no, the Rangers played in the first one. It was like 2012 or some shit. 2012. It was 2012. There was 1 wild card team, and they just made it. Right? You had 3 divisions, 3 division winners, 1 wild card team. That was it. But the stakes are what makes the playoffs so fun. I don't think anyone wants to watch a 7-game series between some of these teams. The stakes are fun, I agree, but a 3-game series, it's almost like you blink and it's over. And it can feel fluky. I think that's the danger you put yourself in when you have that short of a postseason. Is you run the risk of it leading to some fluky shit. In a sport where fluky shit can happen, it's different for like football, because usually in football the best team's gonna win, right? But in baseball, dude, the White Sox could fluke their way to 2 wins. I don't know. I think it's really stupid. Really, really stupid. It makes no sense to me at all. None. If you're truly the best team, I think the cream will rise to the top. Yeah, I mean, look, it was an awesome run by the Rangers last year, an awesome run by the Diamondbacks. Those were not the best teams. I don't think anyone with a straight face would tell you those were the best teams. The Rangers were fucking crawling into the playoffs last year. Yeah, the Rangers didn't lose a road game. It was a little fluky. It was awesome. It was an awesome run, but... All right, let's get into basketball stuff. Finally. Yes, but another thing that comes with that is Cinderella runs and surprises and cool World Series winners that otherwise wouldn't have a chance. Yeah, I mean, I guess it really depends on what you like. I think there's a little too much parity in baseball, where it just feels like pretty much nothing matters in the regular season once you get to the playoffs. I think NBA is at a perfect spot currently. Where more often than not, the best team is going to win, you feel like, but there's definitely room for shit to happen. Let's get this right. I think we got 10 correct the first time we did this, and we've yet to get 10 right again. In 2006, the Steelers beat all right, well, we're already going to lose. Definitely not the Lions or the Commanders. It's between the Seahawks or the Giants. I mean, I think it was the Seahawks. Fuck yeah. All right. Those were more difficult ones. In 2014, the Seahawks beat that was the Broncos, right? Wasn't that a huge blowout? Okay. These Super Bowl ones are scary. 2015, the Royals beat the Mets. I remember that. All right, I think I can handle this one. Which of these NBA players has never won a title? Oh, it's a trick question. Thank God John Stockton's here, because Gabe Pruitt, are you fucking joking? Who did the Lakers beat to win the title in 2009? That was the Celtics year. No! I thought the Magic year was 2010. Oh, 2010 was the Celtics year. God damn it. I could have sworn the Magic year was 2010. Fuck. casual, man. I'm a casual. Ugh. And now it's like, yes, that 2010 Lakers Celtics series was legendary. It was an incredible series. And the Mavs beat them the next year. Oh, man. No, I knew they played the Magic in one of their championship years. For some reason, I thought it was 2010. It's a shame getting basketball ones wrong. Like, that one hurts. If I missed one of the Super Bowl ones, all right, so be it. Thoughts on the A's leaving Oakland? Sad, man. I don't know. It's just sad. That would suck. It's also just like, baseball's so weird to me, man. You just have so many owners that are like, yeah, whatever. I'm buying this team. I don't care about them. What year did the Lakers get swept in the playoffs and by who? Any of the past Nuggets seasons? But I know what you're getting at. 2011 Dallas Mavericks, second round. All right, we got a couple of articles. I want to go over. NBA power rankings. I don't really care about this one. I don't put any stock into preseason power rankings at all. How about this one right here? You ever wish you had a more general basketball fans? Yes. That'll happen this year. Top questions and predictions ahead of the 24-25 NBA pre-season. Look at Josh Green. Josh Green headlining this article, man. Good for him. See, this is what needed to happen. He needed to leave the Mavericks so he could spread his wings and fly. And now here he is on the Hornets, and according to ESPN, just putting him front and center of this article. He's the face of the Charlotte Hornets. So congratulations, Josh Green. Which newcomer is so what even is this? This is top questions and predictions out of the 24-25 season. We got some riders here on deck. Which newcomer has the biggest adjustments ahead, and who is the best fit? Right? So let's see what Thompson's skill set is exactly what Dallas needs. All right, we're immediately going into Clay. A lethal outside shooter to complement Luka Dončić and Kyrie Irving, but Thompson is coming from a system that was predicated on constant and precise movement. Now the shooter will often be watching Dončić and Irving dominate the ball. In time, Thompson could be the ideal fit for Jason Kidd's offense. Mikal Bridges, though, should be a perfect fit for the Knicks. So immediately I'm like, one, I do think the Knicks had an overrated offseason. Full stop. I think Mikal Bridges is going to be great. Mikal Bridges, just for the last year and a half, was the main guy on offense, and now that's going to change dramatically for the better for him. But I'm trying to understand how, for Clay, I would understand if it was, hey, Clay's been a catch-and-shoot guy that hasn't moved around at all, and now he's going to a system where he's constantly moving around off the ball, and like they're asking you to move and be constantly moving on offense and coming off screens. That I could see being like, that might be a little difficult for him. But going from that to, hey, Clay, you're going to get so many wide open catch and shoot threes by just standing there. How is that fucking difficult? Huh? What's the big adjustment there? Hey, Clay, take practice shots in the gym that you take every day 1,000 times. Chris Herring, I'm extremely curious to see how Randall will gel with the Timberwolves. He deserves a ton of credit for becoming the player he did during his time at the Knicks and making 2 All-NBA teams in New York, but playing alongside up-and-coming superstar Anthony Edwards in a new offense and in a potential contract year could be challenging. Yeah, the Julius Randle one is a questionable fit. That's a much better answer than Klay Thompson. In terms of fantastic automatic fit, I really think Chris Paul will do damage alongside Victor Wembanyama. Yeah, that's also just a perfect fit. Match made in heaven. Chris Paul on the Spurs. If you put, all right, here's an interesting question, interesting little thought exercise. If you put prime Chris Paul, keep in mind, prime Chris Paul, we're talking top 5 player in the league. We're talking top 3 MVP vote getter, right? If you put him on the Spurs team, what's their ceiling? I'm thinking second round exit. I think that they could be a finals team, actually. Fringe playoff with prime Chris Paul. Tim McMahon. Thompson has the biggest adjustment to make. What? I mean, how could you think this? The biggest adjustment in the league? Even the phone doesn't agree. But the cleanest fit among big names who changed team is Paul. Yeah, I do agree. Chris Paul's a great fit. Kevin Pelton, DeRozan. See, like, okay. Thank you, Kevin Pelton. How does Klay Thompson have a more difficult fit by just, hey, Klay Thompson, shoot threes? How is that a more difficult fit than DeMar DeRozan? Huh? I know, guys. I've seen all of the Luka injury stuff. Trust me, I've seen all of it. I'm not concerned. Paul George is the easiest fit. I think that's a more interesting fit. It figures that Thompson is the guy with the major adjustment coming his way. Man, I do have to say, it does feel like there's just such a weird Dallas thing going on here. There just is. I hate to be that guy, and you guys know I'm not that guy. Sometimes I can't help but feel like there is some strange. A lot of people are 1,000% overthinking the Klay fit. I mean, way overthinking it. He's going from a partnership with an all-time type player in Steph Curry and winning 4 championships. All right, Dave, we're going to have problems. I hate the way you worded this. He's going from a partnership with an all-time type of player in Steph Curry and winning 4 championships to joining a team that is relying on him to be the missing piece after losing the 2020 finals. Brother, the Mavericks are not relying on Klay Thompson to go back to the NBA Finals. The idea is that Klay Thompson can help push them over the top to help them in the NBA Finals. They're not relying on Klay Thompson to make the NBA Finals. You understand? Do you understand? And that's some Lucas shade right there. Meanwhile, the combination of Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein should assimilate swimmingly on the Oklahoma City Thunder. So if I'm just playing devil's advocate, for me, I personally think Klay Thompson just an easy as it fucking gets fit on the Dallas Mavericks, right? Caruso and Hartenstein, who's coming off the bench there? Is Hartenstein playing next to Chet Holmgren? Like, how are they going to work that in to the equation? Caruso, the Thunder are going to need somebody. Look, we can shit on Josh Giddey all we want. The Thunder are going to need somebody to step up and fill in that playmaking void that he's leaving. Is Caruso going to be that guy? Like, come on now. I can't sit here and be like, yeah, that's an easy no-brainer fit. And I do think it is, by the way. I think Hartenstein's an easy fit with the Thunder. Which star is the most approved this season? Giannis and Damian Lillard. How could it be Giannis with the most approved? Nobody thinks the Bucks can beat the Celtics. Like, how could he have the most approved? I do kind of agree that Dame could maybe be in this list here. Because if this doesn't work again, then you start to look at Dame sideways a little bit. Yeah, and here we go. The answer is easily Joel Embiid. Like, I don't think it's even close. The answer is easily still Joel Embiid. Like, most people are saying this is maybe the best team he's had. They've just outright said we need him to be healthy for the postseason. That's all we care about. They need to go on a deep playoff run. Article about Klay Thompson left Golden State equals clicks. Article about DeRozan joining a new team is something casual fans don't even know. And that's true. Tim McMahon, Harden. How could James Harden have the? I mean, at this point in time, does Harden have much to prove? Like realistically, what? Well, what's anyone going to say if the Clippers win 38 games this year? Is that going to change how we view Harden really at all anymore? Now, I will say if the Clippers are surprisingly good and Harden is like back to being a top 10 player, that is like, holy shit, James Harden. Embiid. I mean, the answer is clearly Embiid. Let's see what the reasoning is for Luka. The most to prove, Luka Dončić. 25 years old, coming off of an NBA Finals appearance. I would say that gives him some leniency in terms of having to prove things, but let's hear him out. After finishing third in MVP voting and coming up short in the NBA Finals, there's very little left for Luka Dončić to clear before he could claim control of the league. His first 6 seasons have already been dominant by individual standards. His 28.7 points per game is the third highest scoring average ever behind only Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain, while his 8.3 assists average ranks 12th during that span. It's crazy. He has the type of potential of breaking through and then ruling the roost for a decade plus. The question is, will he have the urgency to start that push now, fueled by that Celtics defeat when he had a combined 15 turnovers and losses in games 2 and 5? Okay, I mean, yeah, sure. Or the 25-year-old need more time to reach that point. That's a good, honestly, that I like that. I actually like that because he's approaching it from the angle of, hey, Luka could like be the guy in the NBA for the next 6-7 years, and can he prove that this year? I think that's a very reasonable answer. If that's like the expectation you have for Luka, that's a completely and totally reasonable answer. That's. I feel like this is some of you are mad in the chat. I feel like this is actually more of a show of respect than anything. Which new coach needs to make the best first impression on their team? Is the answer is JJ? Like, what's even the point of this? JJ Redick. Like, it's obviously JJ Redick, right? He will be chased out of town if the Lakers aren't good immediately. Okay, Doc Rivers. If you're counting Doc Rivers, then yes, that's a good answer as well. But yes, Redick. Oh, okay. Budenholzer for the Suns. See, here's the thing, though. Lakers fandom is absolutely batshit insane. It's just the way that they treat Lakers coaches. If the Lakers suck early on, JJ Redick is going to be thrown into the fire, thrown to the wolves, right? Doc Rivers is under a lot of pressure because it wasn't good last year. You now have a full season. You've said some wild shit about, I wouldn't wish this upon anyone taking over this team midseason. Like, if the Bucks are bad immediately, he's going to get a ton of shit. Budenholzer, though, like the Suns, I feel like, especially Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, those guys have such, what's the word I'm looking for? They have such little currency, positive currency with like NBA fans, that if they suck, no one's going to blame Budenholzer, besides maybe Suns fans. Everyone's going to be blaming their players. Similarly to Doc and Bud, Kenny Atkinson is taking over the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, come on, man. It's not Kenny Atkinson. Which East contender has the toughest path to the conference finals? They all kind of do. Somebody inevitably is going to have to play the Celtics in round 2, right? The Sixers could have a tougher time finding their stride than the Celtics and Knicks. I think that's true. Especially if they're going to be very cautious with Embiid. I think that's fair. Milwaukee, simply because it's an older group that's had both health issues and defensive challenges. Yeah, that's a good answer as well. The Knicks, so we're just going with all of them. The Knicks will have their problems as well. Ask me in April for now. I'll note that even if the Indiana Pacers take a step forward after winning 47 games last season, they'll probably have a much more difficult path getting back to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's also a good answer. Yeah, it's funny we're doing all of this. I say how like nobody takes it feels like people don't take the Mavs as seriously as they should, even coming off of a finals appearance. The Pacers did make the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Like they did, and we can all sort of recognize that they got a little bit lucky with injuries and stuff like that during their run, but they did make the Eastern Conference Finals, and it feels like anyone's just like never ever mentioned. I feel like the Knicks are a sneaky, real disappointment team. Like that's just how the vibe I get with them for some reason. I don't know. Which West contender has the toughest path to the NBA Finals? The Denver Nuggets' path back to the NBA Finals is tougher after losing Atavius Caldwell-Pope in free agency. I actually, it's funny. I kind of like Bill Simmons, his take on the Cat trade, that it's a bad thing for the Nuggets because it means teams aren't taking them as seriously anymore. Like the Timberwolves specifically built their team to beat the Nuggets. They did it. And then they looked at the landscape of the league and they're like, we don't need our team built to beat them anymore. Like, I thought that was kind of a funny way to look at I'm sure that didn't have much to do with their logic, but it is kind of a funny way, something only Bill Simmons could really think of. Yeah, the Nuggets, it'll be interesting to see how it works for them. Depending on where you draw the line of contender, I'm not sure any team in the West jumps out, but I'm really curious to see how the Nuggets are probably the overwhelming answer here. Here's another Nuggets answer. I was surprised, as everyone else, that my stat-based wins projection had the Minnesota Timberwolves so low. But there are reasons to question whether they could repeat last year's conference finals run. I do agree, and I've been saying this. I don't know why everyone's just like penciling in the Timberwolves for being as good, if not better, than they were a year ago. I think there's definitely ways that they could regress. That's like not that hard to believe. Because it isn't like they're the Thunder, this super young team that is just going to continue to grow, and it's really hard to imagine them taking steps backwards. Like, they got Anthony Edwards, who's young. Outside of that, like, they're really not that young of a team. Denver. I mean, Denver's the easy answer here. All right, is that it? Yeah. Interesting article. I got to give ESPN some props, man. They've fed us. They have fed us during this offseason with these articles. So has Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report articles have carried us through this offseason, reacting to them, and now we find ourselves 3 weeks away. Next week on the channel is going to start all of our projection and prediction streams. So, I mean, we're here. Preseason games start on Friday. So, I mean, we're back in a lot of ways. But we'll still, just for the rest of the week, we'll react to some articles. Bleacher Report NBA staff hot takes after the Knicks blockbuster Karl Anthony Towns trade was finalized. Let's look at some of these hot takes. How hot are these? Julius Randle's next trade is loading. Is this really a hot take? Yeah, I think Julius Randle, I don't think he's like a long-term Minnesota Timberwolf, right? I don't think they made that trade thinking, great, okay, cool. We make this trade. We got Julius Randle under contract for the next, we'll extend him. Julius Randle's going to be a fixture of our rotation for the next 5 or 6 years. Like, no one actually thinks that. I definitely think that they might trade him just because his contract is tradable. His contract could land you a good player in return. Timberwolves core is not set. I mean, isn't this just saying the same exact thing? The Minnesota Timberwolves shedding Karl Anthony Towns' significant contract despite a 2024 run to the Western Conference Finals shows that the franchise understands the impact of NBA's new collective bargaining agreement. While still high in the short term, the payroll is out of control. Big man, Rudy Gobert, and Julius Randle may be important to Minnesota for now, but the future will be built around Anthony Edwards, obviously, Jaden McDaniels, and Naz Reid. Man. You want that to pack a little bit more punch, don't you? Like, when you hear that laid out, this young core built around Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, and Naz Reid, that doesn't hit. I'm just going to be real. And I'm not trying to be mean, but that doesn't hit, Dillingham could be good, and that changes the equation. Maybe Naz Reid gets better. I mean, Naz Reid's 25, 26. Maybe Jaden McDaniels does take that fabled Jaden McDaniels offensive leap that we've heard so much about. But for a team that we've just sort of penciled in as this is a contender moving forward, this is one of the young teams that's going to continue to rise in the Western Conference, you want that to pack a little bit more of a punch. Knicks finished top 5 on offense. Here's a bold take. With Karl Anthony Towns, the New York Knicks will have a top 5 offense this season. Where did they finish last year in terms of offense, I wonder? Because I don't think this is that crazy of a take. Towns comes in and immediately transforms the offense into a 5-out system, playing the pick-and-pop game with Jalen Brunson. Yes, Towns shot 42% on catch and shoot threes last season. Yeah, and even further than that, I saw a stat that he was over 50% on catch and shoot pick and pop threes. So that's a very lethal weapon that you get right there. The only pushback I would have against this is if Jalen Brunson misses games, it does kind of feel like their offense, like the pathway for their offense to be top 5 feels almost non-existent. You know, it feels like it's so dependent on Jalen Brunson being top 5 player again. Even with Cat in the fold, Mikal Bridges in the fold. I could definitely see them being a top 5 offense, but Knicks defense stays top 10. All right, I'm bored of this article. I don't know what I thought this article was going to be. I thought it was just a general NBA hot take article. Cat finishes top. Okay, for some reason I immediately read this. Is Cat finishes top 10 in MVP. I was about to be like, what? 3-point attempts, yeah. Dante DiVincenzo breaks out again, yeah. Knicks land top 2 seed. Wolves are the big winners. All right, I like these. I like these. I like the why your team won't win, why your team will win. These are the type of articles that I'm here for. Why your favorite NBA team won't win the 2025 NBA championship. Let's get ready to get mad, guys. So much respect to Dan Favale here. So much respect. Just knowing you're going to piss off every single fan base. It's, you know. Right. It's hating at the highest level. And we love that. You know, that's the truth is we do love that. Right. Let's get into it. Is this going to be all teams? All right, we're going all 30 teams. I mean, what? Okay, the Atlanta Hawks. What's the reason why? In a nutshell, Cooper Flagg isn't walking through that door until 2025, 2026, and when he finally does, it won't even be for you. Oh, shit. We are immediately throwing shade. It is crazy. I mean, I'm trying to think of, being an NBA fan, how depressing it must be. And we have some Hawks fans that are in the chat from time to time. So if you are a Hawks fan, please speak up. How frustrating and sad it must be to be, you know, supporting a team that doesn't really have any ceiling or upside to speak of, and you don't even have your picks. Like, being a Clippers fan right now must suck. Being a Hawks fan, you just had the number 1 overall pick, Zachary Ricochet. There's at least something to be excited about. You still have Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, but knowing that there's a great draft class this upcoming season and you don't even own your pick. So even if you do end up sucking, there's just something depressing about that. It gives me a feeling, I don't know how to describe it. It gives me a feeling like, if you ever know if you're on a road trip and it's like late at night and you're in a small ho-dunk ass fucking town getting gas, and just this sort of feeling sinks over you. Just like, oh, where am I? There's something so sad about this place. That's almost what you feel like. Boston Celtics. Let's see what they say here. Looking back on where Dallas was in 2022, 2023, the Kyrie trade saved the Mavs. Oh, yeah, in a lot of ways. Repeating is so 2018. Yeah, it's difficult to repeat. Not just in the NBA, but just in general. Like, it doesn't happen a lot in sports. I would say, yeah, the real question is the big man rotation. Like, if KP's hurt and Al Horford is getting older or hurt or just falls off, which is possible in the playoffs, there's a pretty decent problem for you, right? And the pathway to winning becomes much more difficult than it was a year ago. Like, sure, you went through the postseason run without KP, but Al Horford was really good in the playoffs. What happens if something happens to both of those guys, which is possible? Brooklyn Nets. Common sense is a thing. All right, okay. Charlotte Hornets. Now be nice to my Hornets here. Let's see them sniff full strength for an extended period of time first. Okay. That's a good one. Paul, 26 months in the Slightly Delusional Club. My sports addiction fast is over. It's time to rage. Get back in here, you addicts. It's time to relapse. We're back. We are absolutely back. Yes, and look, I'm kind of hoping to drop a Charlotte Hornets video tomorrow. I've been a Charlotte Hornets guy in the past. You guys know that. What do I mean by being a Charlotte Hornets guy? Like, I've been saying that they're going to win the NBA championship. No. Saying that I've been a believer that they're a better team talent-wise than some people think. Wow, this is actually interesting. Former Suns coach Frank Vogel is a part of our coaching staff as a coaching consultant. Mavericks coach Jason Kidd says. It took a lot of begging, Kidd joked, but he was talked into it, and I'm happy he said yes. Well, okay, that's nice. That's a really nice assistant coach to have, Frank Vogel. But anyways, I will be back on the Hornets again. If they're healthy, they're more talented than you think. LaMelo Ball, I think, is a very, very good basketball player. We just haven't seen him. I think he's played 50 total games the last 2 years. Brandon Miller was great as a rookie. You just think naturally he's going to look better as a second-year guy. Miles Bridges for, all of the off-the-court stuff and why we don't really like that guy anymore. Didn't have a very good season last year, but he is a good basketball player. Mark Williams was hurt for most of the season last year. Chicago Bulls. Banners traditionally aren't hung for generational incompetence. Hey, don't put it past the Bulls. They might throw one up there. They might throw one up there themselves. They might put one up there. Cleveland Cavaliers. This team peaked in 2022, 2023. So I'll push back here against that. What was 2022, 2023? They lose in round 2 to the Heat, right? Isn't that what happened? Or to the Knicks in round 1. Have they not won a playoff series? No, because they did beat the Magic this past season. I'll push back a little bit against this one. I don't think the Cavs are a championship team. But I'll be devil advocate for this because this article is why your team won't win the NBA championship. I'll play devil's advocate for all of these. The world is Mobley has a big breakout season, like the breakout season we've been waiting for, where Mobley was like compared to Tim Duncan. I mean, I'm not just saying that. That was shit that was said, and he has that type of. I mean, we're not going to get that ever, but he has something close to it. And Darius Garland goes back to being an all-star level point guard. And then you have a really good core 4. I like Max Strus a lot. Karis LeVert's a great bench piece. Isaac Okoro had a pretty good season last year. Like, it's a good roster. And if Donovan Mitchell, who was incredible last season, plays like a top 10-ish player again, that's a pretty damn high ceiling. It really depends on Mobley. Why are the Cavs never talked about? Because they're just a good team. They're not a great team. They're a good team where I think a couple years ago, everyone was sort of giving them the benefit of the doubt, like, oh my God, this is going to be a scary team. And they sort of disappointed. And Mobley's now reached that time of his career where all of the goodwill, all of the let's wait and see stuff with you is sort of out the window. And now it's like, all right, are you going to show us? Because we're bored and we're about ready to move on. Dallas Mavericks. The third best player thrown will fluctuate nightly. That's true. I mean, that's true. I will say, again, I'm playing devil advocate for all of these teams. They did make the NBA Finals a year ago, which tells me you're close. Like, I know that they didn't win, and it wasn't that competitive of a series, but if you make the NBA Finals, you're close to winning a championship, right? And the same thing could have been said last year. Like, they didn't have a solidified third best player. It did fluctuate on a nightly basis. It fluctuated throughout the playoffs as well, between P.J. Washington at times, Derek Lively at times. And I'd say, by and large, P.J. Washington was the guy who sort of took over there. I don't think that this is necessarily a problem for the Mavericks. More so, I think there's a world where you could twist it into being a strength, right? Where Clay, Najee Marshall, P.J. Washington, all of these guys, Derek Lively, can step in and have nights where they're the third best player. Like, I don't know if that's a bad thing. If you're Galaxy branding your way to scenarios in which Washington fills that void by punishing mismatches, driving into efficient floaters, and banging in threes all on a consistent basis, I recommend you first seek out consultations from a Charlotte Hornets fan. So is he just hating on every team? This is the first one I've read. Is he just really hating? This feels very hateful. I've seen and heard subsets of the hashtag MFFL Brigade talk themselves into Thompson helping out here in terms of ball handling, leaning on him to create for himself or others, or just genuinely dribble, and also feeling good about that. Dependable would be a choice. I don't think anyone feels that way. Like, I think we're cool with Luka and Kyrie creating. What the Mavericks desperately needed and wanted was guys who could just do more offensively, not just like creating for themselves consistently, but just being able to do that when the matchups and situations present themselves. And it is funny that he said this about the PJ Washington. I do think, like, over the course of a season, it might be irresponsible to want that. But this is why the Mavericks won against the Thunder. I do want to point out, was the Thunder forced PJ Washington to do all of these things he mentioned, and he did. Again, this is he's hating on every team. So let's. Denver Nuggets, scared money doesn't hang banners or something. He is hating on every single team. I respect this guy, man. He's really going for it. I thought that he would just, raise a point for each team here. Raise a point for each team and sort of play devil's advocate. No. He's full-fledged hating. I respect him. Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets one is easy. We've talked about it a million times. That the departure of KCP, which I guess they couldn't. Could they have even matched that contract? Like, was the KCP situation similar to the Bruce Brown situation? The Bruce Brown situation being, we actually can't, like, just the rules is we can only offer you a certain number. And a team elsewhere just offered him a way bigger number. Or could they have kept KCP at that number, but they just didn't want to because of tax and apron stuff? We'll see. I'm so interested by the Nuggets. They've got to be the most interesting team in the league this season, I would have to guess. Detroit Pistons, not being built to lose doesn't mean you're built to win. Just a building year for the Pistons. I'm in on them. I think that their upside's pretty high. I mean, not this season, obviously, but I'm a believer in Cade. Ivy feels to me, this is kind of what I'm thinking for the Pistons this season. They're better than last year. Cade looks really good. Ivy kind of takes a bit of a step. Asar takes a step. They're still a bad team, not like traditionally good, but they show enough where you're like, okay, the Pistons are trending in the right direction. And I think Ivy could be a trade piece for when the Pistons decide it might be time to push the button a little bit, push the pedal. They don't have upside. You're asking for too much. Yeah, but when I'm saying upside, I'm saying like maybe they win 33 games. Like, I know Frank Vogel joined the coaching staff, guys. Bro, I got to say, it was immensely disappointing that you didn't have media credentials. If you were there with Nick, it would have been legendary, massive health, all due respect. Yeah, I mean, I talked about it a little bit a couple days ago. Admittedly, I don't know if I would have gone. I'm not really a reporter, so it's not really my thing. But yeah, maybe next year. Golden State Warriors. Trades are hard. Mike Dunleavy Jr. probably pretending to care about what's left of the Steph Curry era. I think they, so is it true that they had Red Night Media Day before you? I hope not. He might not be allowed on a plane. I'm not sure. Mike Dunleavy Jr., they didn't make any splash trades. I said and I can't hate on the Warriors now for not doing something like this because I said all postseason or all offseason long, I don't think any of these moves make them winners. Like, they're pretty much in a fucked situation. I think it's closed. I think the ceiling is done. I think that the window is closed, slammed shut. And now I think the idea, if Steph does ride out the remainder of his career with the Warriors, the idea is you kind of do like what the Mavs did with Dirk, where you're not going to win a championship, but you try to do things to build a competitive enough roster. I don't know. I don't see a pathway for them. Houston Rockets, come talk to us in 25, 26. Yeah, it's too early for them. If Jalen Green has a breakout or Amin Thompson has a breakout, you could probably talk yourself into them next year being like this fun, interesting. Let's say that they end up making the playoffs this year, right? 7 seed, 8 seed, mid 40s, upper 40s in wins. Then their championship prospects the next year look a little bit interesting. But Indiana Pacers, properly sized wings matter. So this is some Neesmith slander. Given Pascal Siakam more of those responsibilities will threaten to undermine Indy's already shaky presence on the defensive glass. Jarris Walker is, it seems, going to be developed in the vein of a wing, but will he even play for a team with immediate aspirations? It doesn't seem like it. No stars have signed with the Warriors, and no one talks about people not wanting to play with Steph like Luka. I mean, they did get Kevin Durant. Like, they did get one of the highest profile free agents in the history of the league, so... I mean, nobody really changes team in free agency anymore anyway. Like, that's not really a thing that happens anymore. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Indiana... I do love the addition of Siakam. And yeah, Neesmith is kind of small at the 3, but he does play up a little bit. But I don't think they're a championship team. Clippers, don't even need to say. Gestures wildly towards everything except the Intuit Dome's toilets. Oh... Yeah, do we need to say anything at all? The Clippers are so weird, man. They give me maybe the worst vibes in the league. Maybe the worst vibes in the league. That feels like a implosion. It just feels like come January, that's going to be a bad situation. Lakers, their biggest offseason acquisition, doesn't wear a uniform. So you guys know that I'm pretty hot on the Lakers. And yeah, this is it. They didn't really add much talent in the offseason. You know, I think the hope is LeBron continues to do LeBron things, and he's healthy like he was last year, and AD's healthy like he was last year. And maybe you just get a little bit more lucky with who you draw in the playoffs, and you don't have to fucking face the Nuggets who just you can't beat early. Like, that would maybe be it. And maybe that JJ Redick is like a really good head coach. And that you finally find something at the trade deadline where you could, you know, package D'Angelo Russell and pick for like a legitimate upgrade. Like, that would be the hopes and dreams. Memphis Grizzlies, injury bugs, love to hate them. Yeah, I mean, we've already seen it. Vince Williams Jr. hurt, G.G. Jackson hurt, Jaren Jackson hurt now as well. They can't seem to get healthy, and I always sort of am shaky on teams that enter the season very unhealthy. Now, I don't know. I don't know the extent of all of these injuries, but we already know G.G. Jackson is going to miss a lot of time. We already know Vince Williams Jr. is going to miss time. And again, I'm shaky on the Grizzlies. Like, I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast earlier, and they were talking like how the Grizzlies could be the sneaky 1 seed in the West, and it feels like people are starting to reach that point with the Grizzlies where we're like, they could be the 1 seed. Miami Heat, teams around them got better. They didn't. This is this story of the Heat over the last few years, right? They had their miraculous postseason run, finals run, and yeah, it just feels like they've stood in place while other teams around them have gotten much better. Milwaukee Bucks, I didn't know they gave out coupons for ankle surgery. So it is interesting, right? The Bucks, you're reliant on old guys. Damian Lillard is old, right? Brook Lopez is old. Chris Middleton had 2 fucking ankle surgeries on both ankles. He had a surgery on each ankle. They're scary. What happens if they're bad this year? The Nuggets, Jokic isn't going anywhere. The biggest question really might be, if the Bucks have another disappointing year, what happens? Like, what happens? I think we could approach a Giannis asks out situation because there's not like a pathway for them. It's not like they've got a lot of young talent, right? Giannis is getting older. Like, he's reaching the point in his career where next 3-4 years, we got to go. Brooke Lopez is a geezer. Chris Middleton is a geezer who's had 2 ankle injuries. Damian Lillard is approaching geezer status as well. But if the answer is, oh, we'll just trade Dame, if they're disappointing again this year, what will Dame's value be? Minnesota Timberwolves, the season doesn't care about next season and beyond spreadsheet. It's a good one. I would say the real limitation, and look, if we're talking about winning a championship, this is what the point of this article is. It's Anthony Edwards currently. I don't think he plays the way you need your star to play to win a championship. That's not to say he won't get there, but there has to be a playmaking leap that is reached by him before they are like real, legitimate championship contenders. Okay? Every other championship level player has reached it, right? Tatum last year reached it. Tatum was a good playmaker in the playoffs. He was. Anthony Edwards has to hit that mark. His playmaking was bad against the Mavericks. Let's not forget that game 2 doesn't happen if it weren't for his disastrous fucking turnover down the stretch of that game. Pelicans, angrily pointing at the depth chart. What is this? A center for ants? They also give me weird vibes. Them and the Clippers. Like, something just feels off with the Pelicans. You're telling me you're really entering the season with no center at all? Like, that was the plan? The plan has to be a midseason trade involving Brandon Ingram. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they already sort of know what they're doing, who they're trading with and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, Daniel Tice and Yves Messi and Zion Williamson being your center. I mean, that just can't be. Yeah, but Derek Lively was a lottery pick who was like a top 5 high school player. Yves Messi was, what pick was he? The 20-something in a bad draft? The Mavs had done that for 10 years. Yeah, and guess what? They were never real title contenders until they actually figured, hey, it's time to take the center position fucking seriously for once. Ingram for Robinson trade? No, they got to get more than that. New York Knicks. Dude, they said in media day Daniel Tice is going to be an important thing for them. In a nutshell, emptying the trade asset cupboard for a bunch of players who will combine to make fewer than 2 All-Star appearances on your team feels fraught. Oh, this is an interesting way to look at it. So if you want to say the Knicks, they still have some trade stuff, but they pretty much emptied their trade coffers for Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Cat. And I guess he's implying that out of those 3, Mikal maybe sneaks into an All-Star game, although I doubt it. Cat probably makes an All-Star game or 2 during his time with the Knicks just by, he'll put up really good stats. He'll be really good for them. They'll be good in just the New York market. It's an interesting way to look at their offseason, that they spent that much on good, not great players. They're going to be really good, though, and they're going to be contenders. The Knicks will. I do think that they'll be a little bit more disappointing at times during the regular season than people think. The real thing is, Cat hasn't been a great postseason player so far throughout his career. OG Anunoby is constantly injured. That would be the scary things for me. It's like, well, if OG's hurt in the playoffs again and Cat sucks dick, then you're not winning. Oklahoma City Thunder, they didn't trade for Daniel Gafford at last season's trade deadline. Oh! Victory lapping after acquiring Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey is cool and invites likes and retweets. It's not that much of a feat when you consider brokering deals with the Chicago Bulls is a lot like stealing candy from an unmanned bowl of someone's doorstep with a signed scotch tape on the front that reads, take whatever you like. Happy Halloween. Adding Caruso is a home run for perimeter defense that didn't need one, and a single to double for an offense that could use his spacing, but pines harder for his shot creation. Oklahoma City will point out that Holmgren or Jalen Williams will grow into checking the ladder box. That's not a given. He's kind of spitting right now. We haven't seen enough from Holmgren on ball to make that claim, and Jalen Williams looked more like Buck Williams trying to play as Mo Williams of Adonis Williamses during the Dallas Mavericks series. Wow. Presti and Co. have contingencies for their contingencies and still boast the assets to make a multitude of moves should they deem it necessary. That's been true essentially since Presti learned you can trade for draft picks. And invariably, each year, the Thunder stand pat or trade the chance to force Gordon Hayward into retirement instead of obvious championship difference maker Daniel Gafford. So the Thunder, right? I do think they're the best team in the West. I do think they have a great chance of making the NBA Finals this year. What do they need? They do need J-Dub and Chet. I mean, he's right in that. Like, they really are banking on those two continuing to progress and taking big leaps forward offensively. And like he said, that's not a given, right? And it's funny. I was just earlier today having this conversation, really this debate with an OKC fan, OKC Thunder friend who's an OKC Thunder fan, about what their starting five will be. And I made the point for Hartenstein just because I like the pick and roll with him, and I like that he could be this like sort of playmaker who also offers size and rebounding. And his thought was Caruso. And I just thought Caruso was kind of redundant next to Dort in the starting five, especially because, say what you want about Giddey, they need to replace that playmaking. They need to replace somebody who can just bring the ball up the floor and stuff. And Caruso, he can do that just fine, but he's not a good offensive player. Like, he's just not. I would even say that he's not like a floor spacer. I mean, his 3-point numbers are fine, but teams aren't like, holy fuck, we cannot let Caruso get off. Like, Dort, his 3-point shooting numbers were good. Like, his percentages were fine, right? 39% from 3 last year. You don't know what the Mavericks did? They gave him space. When he got the ball, they closed out incredibly hard because they knew that he couldn't do shit when he put the ball on the deck. It's going to be a pretty similar thing for Caruso. And yeah, during the playoffs, man, Shea had a great series against the Mavericks, but then J-Dub wasn't as good as they needed him to be. Chet hit a rookie wall offensively in like February. He was pretty bad from that point forward, just efficiency-wise, especially from 3-point land. We'll see. I think they're going to be great. I really do. I think they get that J-Dub and Chet lead. I think those two are good enough, talented enough that I think it's safe to assume that they get better. And Caruso and Hartenstein are great additions, especially Hartenstein. I think it's such a good addition. But I don't think it's as much of a guarantee as other people are saying. I don't think there's any guarantees this year. Like, I can't really think of one. The Celtics, their injury situation with their bigs is concerning enough. Everything else is up in the air for me. Defense without offense doesn't win championships. Yeah, the Magic have a championship level defense, but the offense needs to follow up. If there's a very big, I'm talking like, sometimes you see it, it's rare, but a very big Paolo leap, where we're getting to like top 10, maybe even pushing top 5 conversations with Paolo, which I don't think is impossible. He's shown flashes of being a player that can reach that this season. Their ceiling's pretty high, I gotta say. I really like their team. But it really does kind of depend on something like that happening. Sixers, Paul George is subtraction by addition, and Norman Powell's completely unbiased position. Opinion. That was wild. Norman Powell said that. Pretty much everyone has extolled the Philadelphia 76ers offseason to no end. They poached George from the Los Angeles Clippers while piecing together a real, actual rotation around him, Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Except, did they really? Powell called George's exit from Los Angeles Clippers addition by subtraction. I think that was just him maybe misspeaking or maybe not using the right words. Frank Vogel joined Mavs as a coaching staff. I know, guys. I have to emphasize this again, and I don't want to sound mean or asshole-ish, but it's just anytime I'm streaming and talking about something else, then people come in and say things. If it's something involving the Dallas Mavericks, trust me, if it's older than 20 seconds, I promise you I've seen it. And if I'm live streaming, then chances are that we've talked about it. And as for this depth around the stars, so many are commending. Do we just not care about primary frontcourt slot next to Embiid? George, Caleb Martin, Kelly Oubre Jr., Yabusele and KJ Martin will all, as of now, have to lend a helping hand at the 4. Should be contenders. Definitely like heading into the season with people wondering whether they should start Yabusele and bring Martin or Oubre off the bench. Yeah, I mean, all things considered, they definitely had one of the best off seasons, maybe the second best behind the Thunder. But it's not a guarantee. This is what I'm saying. There's no guarantees this year. Like, so many different things can happen this upcoming NBA season. So many non-wings for the Suns. They're just not constructed like a championship roster. That's what you can say. Nurkic, in really no way, is the type of center you think of when you think of a championship winning team starting center. You don't think of a guy like Yusuf Nurkic. And yeah, they don't really have defensive wings. Like, this is not a team defensively you just look at and think, yes, his defense is good enough to win 4 straight playoff series. Offensively, if they're healthy, they're going to be a fucking nightmare. They're going to give up a lot of points. Portland Trailblazers, having concepts for loose outlines of unfinished blueprints for a plan isn't something about which to brag. All right, see, like, I think he's being too mean, a little too mean to the clearly rebuilding teams. Like, we get it, man. The Blazers aren't going to win. Like, you can just say they're the Trailblazers. Like, and that's good. I like what they did this offseason, right? Simon, Sharp, and Scoot, like, at some point, you're going to have to work your way around that. I like that they have some, like, young centers, like Ayton and Klingon and Robert Williams, and they could trade them, right? I like that they went out and got Deni Avdija. It's not traditionally what you would think because they're not contending, but he's young enough that, hey, fuck it, we'll go get him. I don't think we have to be this mean to the obvious non-contending teams. You're defining offseason acquisition as a ball-dominant, non-floor spacing 35-year-old. This is what I've been saying all offseason. It's fun. I get it. Kings fans are really, really excited that DeMar DeRozan chose their team. This is a guy who's made so many All-Star games, All-NBA teams, like one of the more popular and well-known players in the NBA. I mentioned before how in Europe this past year when I went to they had, I think it was in Amsterdam, I don't remember where, there was a small NBA store, and I went in, and they had 4 jerseys on the wall. There was a LeBron James jersey, a Giannis jersey, a Steph Curry jersey, and a DeMar DeRozan jersey. Like, he is a wildly popular player, probably more popular than you realize. And getting him is exciting for a team that really doesn't do much in free agency ever. The fit makes no sense at all to me. None at all. If we're talking like wanting to compete and win a championship. San Antonio Spurs, outside shooting anyone? Yeah, I mean, again, it's like I said, the Trailblazers. Like, we know that these non-contending teams aren't going to win a championship. Toronto Raptors, because Jakob Poeltl said so. That's true. That is true. Utah Jazz, team CEO Danny Ainge will learn from his mistakes. What do they mean by this? Ainge will not be outmaneuvered by the team he built again. He knows better, and so I put together a list of things more likely to happen than Utah being accidentally good this season. All right, so he's basically saying that they're going to be tanking for Cooper Flagg, and Danny Ainge will not be stopped in his pursuit of this. Head coach Will Hardy will receive a 20-game suspension. Markkanen will be sent to separate road trip itineraries from his teammates that have him arriving to the Jazz playing 160 minutes after it takes off. When Markkanen does not make the plane on time, the Jazz will fly to the wrong city. Oh, when Markkanen does make the plane on time, the Jazz will fly to the wrong city and be forced to forfeit the game. Drew Eubanks will start at point guard. Oh, I actually did not know Drew Eubanks was on the Jazz. Before potentially winnable games, Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton will get informed they're about to be traded and held out while the details are finalized, only for those transactions that never existed to fall apart at the last second. It's a good one. Cody Williams will miss 6 to 8 weeks after burning the roof of his mouth while eating ice cream. Okay. Injury reports, I hate when that happens. Injury reports will include ailments such as Taco Bell indigestion. I hate that one, man. You know, you fuck around and spend $30 at a Taco Bell. Nothing good comes from it, but so much good does. Bruised fingernail. No, hey, bruised fingernail sucks. Okay. Morning pair of lost AirPods. Been there. You know, I've actually done multiple mornings when it comes to lost AirPods. Thought I lost a pair of AirPods. Mourned it. Bought new AirPods. Right. Went up a generation. little bit more expensive. Had to get them though. And then only a few weeks later found the pair of AirPods that I once previously thought were missing. And you might think that's a good thing, but now I have 2 pairs of AirPods. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with both? DNS did not sleep. Borrowed DeAndre Ayton's gravel. And Lego stuffed mattresses. As well as a variety of injuries to made-up body parts named after obscure anime characters. Every single time Chris Paul goes to a new team that has a young core, he transforms them into a competitive bunch. That's what happens when you get winning veteran players. And Washington Wizards, they're attempting to do the opposite. Yeah, I mean, that's all you can say for all of these teams. That was a fun little article. Who was it? Who wrote it? Dan Favali? Hating. You got to respect it. You know everyone's going to hate it. Do people still comment on Bleacher Report articles? Is that still a thing? All right, well, that's all I got today, guys. I know I said we were back to streaming regularly. I don't know if we're going to stream on Friday or not. I have a tattoo appointment at noon. So I definitely won't be back by 1. I don't know when I'd be back. I want to stream on Friday. We'll see. I'll keep you in the know. Yeah, I'm getting a tramp stamp. Definitely getting a tramp stamp. Yep, Animaps 2025 tat. No, it's not Australia. I need to do Australia at some point. Or do I? He's off the team. And technically, if we go back to the Australia tat for a second, technically, I did win the bet. And I only said it would be funny if I did it. But the criteria I laid out was not reached. I just thought it'd be funny to round up and get it anyways. I do always forget about the Australia tattoo. I should just say, hey, I want to get this tattoo, and then can you also just like fucking do the outline of Australia on me as well? Josh is off the team, but you know, Kyrie's got Australian ties. Exum is still on the roster. All right, folks, thank you for tuning in. Fun stream today. If you missed any of it, all the important bits and tidbits I'll have on the Slightly Biased Clips channel. All of the OGs, you guys know, love you very much. Could have spent your, what day is it? Wednesday afternoon, anywhere in the world you decide to spend it here. New subscribers, I promise you guys not regret it. Donations, members, thank you guys so much. Never have to do that, but it helps me out tremendously. It makes me feel so good. You guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I will talk to you all later. I might drop a video tomorrow about the Charlotte Hornets. When you see it, like it, comment, all of that good stuff. Love you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Talk to you later. Bye.